On this week's episode, we deal with the very sensitive subject of fathers and father wounds. While this episode may be disturbing, we ask that you watch with an open heart and be ready to do the real work. Take a deep breath and let's dive in.
Unashamed.
Hello, welcome to Unashamed Podcast. Yeah. This is episode that was so corny. Oh my goodness.
It's okay. Episode 7.
Episode 7. Here we are. How was your day?
My day was fine. My day was good. Went to work. Still doing the adulting thing like we said before in a previous episode, but my day was fine. It was good.
That's good.
Yours?
My day was good. I actually did a prank on my little brothers. It was really great. It was funny. Have you seen the what is it? The chocolate? You put the chocolate on your hand, you tell them to bring you a tissue. Yeah. Great. It was a good time. So it was definitely funny. But yeah, so that was the highlight of my day.
Okay. Not the highlight.
Yeah, that was funny. Anywho, before we start, we are gonna play a game. Song association. You have 10 seconds.
Okay, but before we have 15.
To sing. No, that's for my grandma. We have 10 seconds to sing a song with a word in it. You have to sing the song with the word in it. You can't say it, but you have to sing it. Let's do that. You'll go first, or I'll go first?
You can go ahead.
Okay, so your word is press.
Wait, you gotta say the word first and then do the timer.
I'm gonna do it at the same time. Ready? Okay. Your word is press.
Press?
Press.
What in the world?
You better think, girl.
Oh God. Who knows a song with that?
Forget about it. You're done.
Jeez, I need 15.
15? No, you get 10.
Press though?
It's too late. Your turn.
Okay. We're gonna do your word, and it's going to be follow.
Follow.
I thought you were
lead me, Jesus, and I'll follow you, and I'll follow. Lead me, Jesus. Yeah. Lead me by KJ something. I forgot his last name.
Okay, great. Yeah, you got it.
Hateration. I don't know if it's a topic or just because I'm a great person, but you are a hater today. Come on, get out of there, hating spirit. Jesus. I did that. Go ahead, man. Clap for me. Clap for me.
Encourage yourself. Yep. That's what the word says.
That's what the word says. It's gonna be a juicy one today. That's why she acting up. It's gonna be a juicy one. This is funny. This is hilarious.
Oh God. Okay. So we're gonna dive right in because there's no other way but to do this but to pull the Band-Aid off. So the vulnerable question is, how was your relationship with your father? That's the vulnerable question. How was your relationship with your father?
Wow. Okay. First of all, before I answer that, let's just take a deep breath. I feel just intense. I feel tension. Let's go ahead and breathe in, smell the roses, blow out the candles. Let's do that. Anywho, let me go ahead and answer this question. How is my relationship with my father? Are we rating it from 10 being great to 1 being awful? Like, how are we doing this? Or am I going into details? Like, how?
Details? Because it's got to be vulnerable.
Oh, okay. How's my relationship with my father? It's so weird because we don't know if these people are watching. But anywho, how is my relationship with my father? I mean, it's not the best. I mean, there's something. I text him. There's something. It's not the best relationship, but there's something. I know who I know him, and I see him on holidays sometimes when I go out there. Um it's not the best relationship. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. We got to be real. You got to be honest. You got to be honest. So I'm walking in truth today.
All right. You go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and take it now.
Yeah.
How is my relationship with my father? Okay. I have a biological father, and I do not know him.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know him. I know a name, and that's it. That's all I have. So I don't have a relationship because I don't know him. But I do have a dad that stepped in. So there's a beauty in that. So I do have somebody that stepped in, that was able to provide, that was able to be there. So but as far as for our topic goes for today, nope, I don't know my biological father.
This is gonna be a vulnerable one, man. This is gonna be a vulnerable one. I didn't know we were like talking about father figures too. I do have father figure that stepped in and did the thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into it, huh? Let's get right into it.
So I think we should tell the people like why that was a vulnerable question. Why that was our vulnerable question, because we're talking about father wounds.
There you go. Yeah.
And we're talking about how it can have an impact on our relationship with the ultimate father. We realize that there are a lot of people that maybe have like a horrible view of God, and we always want to know like where did it come from and why. And a lot of the times it's because of things that we are probably facing over in the natural. You have a bad relationship with your father, so maybe now you don't trust God. So that is where we're coming from today, guys. That's our topic. So that's why we had the vulnerable question.
Yes. And how your relationship with your natural father, how that can affect how you study the word, how you view God as father. So yeah, we're going to dive into that today. We're going to dive into father relationships, father wounds.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
Amen. Yeah.
So let's start off with what is the role of a natural father? What are some of the roles, what is the responsibilities of having a natural father? Like, what is it that they're supposed to do in our eyes?
Well, they're supposed to affirm us. They're supposed to protect us. They're supposed to guide us. They're supposed to give us identity. Yeah, that's just a few.
Yeah, and definitely I want to add, they're supposed to teach us, correct us. They're supposed to provide for us. And when I say provide, I'm not talking about just opening up your wallet. I mean, like just even love and, everything else. They're supposed to do all of that. They're supposed to cover all of that. And I feel like because that's at least a portion of what they are supposed to do. And when you don't have that, now you see God as like, how are you going to protect me? How are you going to provide for me? How are you going to teach me? How are you going to do all of that when I don't have that in life? So I just feel like without that, it's kind of easy to view God in a horrible lighting.
Yes, I agree.
What does having father wounds actually look like? Because we aren't just here to just share everything and tell people all of our business, but we also want to help. We want to encourage and we want to point people to truth. And I feel like one of the ways we can do that is exposing what that looks like. So people can now go back into their life and reevaluate their life and be like, wait, I got that issue. I got this. I got that. So maybe I do got some father wounds. Maybe I do need to pray. So what are some of the ways that people can actually see that they have some father wounds?
For me, it shows up as I guess a lack of vulnerability, struggling to open up, insecurities, pride, self-reliance. Yeah, that's just a few of how it shows up in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered that just by like growing relationships, doing relationships with others, especially in like dating it showed extremely, yeah, it showed a lot in dating. Yeah, that's just a few.
Mm-hmm. Wow. For me, how did it show up for me? Like trust issues. Not really trusting,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to say I had a problem with having to date, but it was more like I got this. Okay, I'll say that. I was very super independent. I'm still working through it.
Uh-huh.
Still working through it. But the independence is like high up there. High,
Mm-hmm.
high up there where it's just like I don't need no help. I could do this. I can open the door by myself. I don't it's fine. I got it. I can carry the bags knowing that I'm struggling. I got it. So the independence is high up there, and I guess you could say that probably falls into the category of like pride, not
Mm-hmm.
wanting to admit that you need help. Like I just want to cry on the shoulder or whatever the case is. So lack of trust, it really developed pride. And then while I was younger, I went through a huge identity crisis
Oh,
because like you said earlier in the show, when you have a father, he's supposed to affirm you.
yeah.
So me not having that, it was just like who am I? And
Yeah.
because I didn't know who I was, I had an identity crisis, and I was comparing myself to others and I wanted what that
Mm-hmm.
person had. So then that went into jealousy and envy and all of that. So it showed up in many, many ways.
Yeah.
Many, many more than I wanted to. Now that I realize what it was, it showed up in a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what else to say from there. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, I'm crazy.
Um,
So would you say that it also provides you with a void?
oh yeah, for
You
sure.
were having a void.
Mm-hmm.
You think that that void shows up also probably very different for certain people? Or do you think it's all the same?
I feel like the symptoms is gonna be symptoms. The void is like that's just like a missing piece. But the symptoms is what we just list out. That's gonna remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that void is like that emptiness, that feeling like you didn't want me. Why didn't you want me?
Yeah. Abandonment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Rejection.
Yeah.
So now how does that tie into our relationship with God?
If we see our father through the lens of pain and trauma, we're also going to take that same perspective and apply it to God.
Mm-hmm.
So if we see our father, he's not there. He abandoned us. Uh, he just, yeah, he just left us. We feel like God is just going to leave us because we call him father.
And I feel like people also blame God, because I know that that's what I did. I definitely went through a season where it's like I was blaming God. Like, you're supposed to be God. How did you let this happen to me?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be God. Why would you allow somebody to help create me, but then turn around and didn't want me?
Yeah.
So this is what you allowed for me to go through. Surely I can't trust you. And now I'm walking around and I'm upset with God. I'm not trusting him. And then that put me into a place of I'm going to be God. And now I'm going to just lean on my own self. And
Oh.
I just feel like it's just like a snowball type of effect, because now that I was in that situation, I just literally took life into my own hands and I made all of the decisions, didn't trust God, didn't lean on him, didn't anything. And then
Yeah.
now it was just like one sin after the next, and then one sin after the next. And then it's just like, wow, all of that just because I can't trust God, because I had a father wound or have a father.
Mhm.
Like, wow. You think that people are aware of their father wounds?
Um, So I think that people are aware. Uh, to some extent, I say that because I kind of look at my own life, and looking at my life, I knew that something was wrong. I knew that I had a hard time. I have a hard time because this is something that I'm still walking out of, but I had a hard time connecting with people and like truly being vulnerable, truly embracing who I am. And I didn't trace that back to my father not being there because I'm 25 years old. So I feel like, hey, you wasn't there. You wasn't there. You kind of, it is what it is. What do we do? You know what I'm saying? So I just kept on like, moving, going. I learned how to manage. I learned how to suppress. And because I did that, I became numb. So I didn't pay attention to it. So because I didn't bring attention to it, I acted as if it wasn't there.
Wow.
So I knew something was wrong, but I didn't trace it back to my father. So I think that could be a thing where they've learned how to manage, they learned how to do life and became numb to the fact that the father is absent and this is a reality that I need to accept, but they kind of pushed it under the rug and keep on moving. And then I guess it kind of became like yeah, it is what it is. It doesn't really matter. It could be something else.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like how many people was walking around here numb
Yeah.
or on like autopilot?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Definitely
mean,
one of
you have like the language for it now, and when you trace it back, it's like, wow, I was really walking around like that.
and yeah, and not even like I was walking around like that. I am walking around like that.
Mm.
I got to the point where I'm like I said, it is what it is. He wasn't there. I'm not gonna sit here and cry every day and woe is me. No, I'm gonna keep it moving and I'm gonna just learn how to flow with life. So because I did that, I didn't care. And when I say I don't care, that could be like a, coping mechanism,
Yeah,
a
like
little
wall you
comfort.
put up.
Yeah, a little comfort, but yeah.
I mean, I think that people are a little numb to it, but I think that people also, because it happens in everyday life now, it just became normal.
Yeah.
That behavior now is just excused,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't be. And I think that that's the scary part that we're in because things like that have been excused, and people are thinking that this is just fine. It's okay. He was absent. It's okay if you want to be independent, be your own woman, alpha female type situation. That's just your life. And
Hmm.
it's like I don't want that for people. Like
Yeah.
I don't want that for people. And then when it comes down to God, He doesn't want that for us. It's like feel what you feel, but
Hmm.
then hand it over to God.
Yeah.
Like, don't be numb. Don't put yourself on autopilot when you have a God where it's just like, you can come to me, you can cry to me, you can lean on me, you can trust me.
Yeah.
But it's just, how can we tell the people, how can you trust God if this is what they're seeing every single day? If this is what they're feeling every single day?
Yeah.
I think it's that part, that in between part, that even though it is your life, and of course we're sorry, but that's not the end.
Yeah.
So, what are some solutions to the father wounds that we can provide people where they don't have to live in that autopilot type of space, but you can feel the feeling of having a father wound, but still trust God?
Of course, that takes time. I think the first step is acknowledging it. You have to face it. This is something that you cannot push under the rug. I'm learning this. The situation with my father. It's not until I deal with it that I'm able to connect with not just people, but with God. So you have to face it. You have to talk about it. You have to write about it. You have to get to a place where, yes, accept and embrace it, accepting it for what it is. This is a part of my story. This is a part of who I am. He
Mhm.
wasn't there, and it's sad. It's sad, and it affects me. But because I know and I understand that he wasn't there, I can kind of move differently. I can kind of like accept it and give it to God. Let it go. You have to let it go. And I'm learning that for myself. I have not completely let it go. Like I said, I just brushed it under the rug. So now I'm coming into a space where I want to connect with people. I want deeper relationships. I don't want surface relationships anymore. So because of that desire, that's leading me to face the problem, to face the root issue, and that's the relationship with my father. So you have to face it. There's no way of getting around it. You have to face it. It's going to keep on showing up. You're going to keep on running into it. At one point, I got to the point where I'm like, God, obviously there's something wrong with me. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to attack it, defeat it. I don't know what else to do. So here I am. Like yeah, you're gonna have to show me. You're gonna have to guide me. You're gonna have to set up relationships and conversations with people that will trigger like what I buried. Because it's not until it's triggered that it comes up to the surface and you can actually deal with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of it. You have to acknowledge it. And then you have to hand it over to God.
Hand it over to God. Let it go.
That is good. But to hand it over to God, there's a certain realization that we need to have of him. Yeah. Which is that he isn't like man.
He's not like man. And nothing that he's done was by accident.
It's that hard, having to realize like, God, wait, this is actually a part of the story that you wrote for me.
And it was on purpose. Like nothing he does is by coincidence. This was something that God is going to use for my good. If my father was there, I wouldn't have came into close relationship with my godfather. So it's like certain things wouldn't have happened if my father was there.
And then also, if we don't overcome certain situations like this, how can we help other people to overcome situations like that?
Yeah, like that's a reality. But I ain't really thinking about nobody else when I'm going through. I'll just be honest. You know what I'm saying? That's nice, fine, and dandy. You gotta use somebody else to help you. But right now, I'm hurting and I'm in pain. And I don't that's not something I'm thinking about. I know we should be, but I'm not.
Yes, we should. Yes, we should.
I was really angry, really angry. Really angry. And this is stuff that we got to talk about because that's a part of it, right? It's stages to grief. And I think when you have a void like this, you're grieving. I grew up and I saw the relationship between my cousins and their father. And I longed for that. I longed to be a daddy's girl. Like that's something that I really, really wanted.
Yeah.
So if I don't embrace that, then how am I gonna grieve properly? How am I gonna heal? How am I gonna allow God to fill that void? Can't.
Wow. But then there comes a time when it's just like, yes, I'll grieve it. Yes. But when do we reach a point where it's just like, okay, it's time. It's time to let it go. It's time to give it to God. No longer sitting in the grief, no longer allowing that to like consume me and lead me and now having a pity party every day. But we got to reach a time where it's just like, okay, God.
But in reality, there's no time limit to grief. It's not up to us to say, oh, you've been sitting in it too long. Oh, you should be this part of your life by now. Like we can't do that. That's
but when you see that it affects your life in a certain type of way, I feel like that's the timeline by itself. When you see where it's like, I still can't keep a relationship, I still can't trust, I still can't love, I still can't accept and receive from others. I feel like that alone is your timeline that you need.
Yeah.
How long are we going to allow an absent father to be the reason why we aren't really being the person or the people that, Jesus Christ has created us to be? It's one of those like inner knowing type of situations where it's just like you need to know when it's time. And I guess you're the only person that could probably judge that.
Yeah, you are.
But then I take that back. You're not the only person that can judge that, because then that's the whole point and reason for you having accountability.
I mean, yeah, but
I mean, I understand. I am sorry, and you know, I'm here for you. But you're not going to be 35 and it's just like you still can't keep a friend. And then I would expect for you to do the same when it comes down to me. Like, okay, Court, like, I mean, how long are you going to be a person where it's just like you just going to be super independent?
Yeah.
You need help.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of having accountability too.
Like you said, true healing, true transformation comes when you get to the end of yourself. And I could reach my end at 25. You could reach your end at 37. There's no time to it. So it's like the healing is between you and the Lord.
Yeah.
You and the Lord. So it's like, of course, get accountability. Of course, get counseling. Get the things that you need. Don't sit in it, because there's hope. Jesus is hope. So because there's hope, you don't have to sit in it. You don't have to do the self-pity, woe is me, and all that other stuff. You don't have to do all that. But in talking about me, I don't want to say I was sitting in it. I wouldn't say that. It's more so I was numb. I knew it. I knew that I had an issue with my father, but I didn't know that because of that, it was affecting every area of my life. Like, I didn't know that. And once I did become aware of that, I didn't automatically change. Now I'm mad. Now I'm mad because now I feel like first of all, you weren't there. Because of your absence, I had to endure a lot of things, right? Because of your absence, I was not protected. And because I was not protected, things happened, right? So because of that, I'm mad now. So now that I realize what the effects are because of his absence, now I'm mad at you. And because I'm mad at you, I'm going to be mad. Oh yes, I'm going to be mad. And we're going to pray. And we're going to talk to people, but I'm going to be mad. And that's a part of it. That's a part of healing. Like going through it, going through all of it. And don't be scared to go through all of it.
That's a really good point that you just made. Don't be scared to go through it. And I think that we're scared to go through it because we have people in our ear telling us that, why you crying? It ain't that bad. You ain't the only person in the world, you know? And I think because we hear so many things like that, it's just like, I don't even want to accept it. Like, fine, I'm just gonna toughen up.
Yeah.
And then that's when we have these other identities, and it's just like, that's not helping you.
Yeah.
So I definitely do agree with that point.
And I think when it comes to like toughen up, all of those things, I think, and I was praying about this, the devil, he is after our vulnerability, especially as women. He is after our vulnerability. Why? Because there's strength in being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is the bridge between us and God. We've really experienced the fullness of who God is, like his strength, when we are vulnerable. Paul said it, like, your strength is made perfect in my weakness. So therefore, I don't know God's strength until I am weak.
Yeah.
Right? Until I am vulnerable, until I am open. Even when we look at the story of Adam and Eve, they came into this world naked. They came into this world completely vulnerable. Why? Because they were in close proximity, close relationship with God. Vulnerability is literally our foundation of our relationship with God, the foundation of our intimacy with God. So if he can attack that, he can attack our whole relationship with God.
Yeah.
So he's coming for that. And it's our job to understand how we must heal in order to get back to that place of true vulnerability, true reliance on God. Okay, I'm finished.
I mean, you could just go ahead and be finished because that was great.
I'm pretty much done.
that was great. I mean, after that, what can you say after that? I mean, that literally just summed up everything and all of the solutions that we want to provide for everybody. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to feel. Don't be afraid to come before God completely naked. Don't be afraid. While you're in the point of you not being afraid, surround yourself with people that will help you to feel what you're feeling. You don't just want to toughen up. You want to feel. You want to be vulnerable. You don't want to sit in it, but you want to feel and you want to give it to God. So I think that was great.
The awesome thing about God is that it says in the Bible that he is a father to the fatherless.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has everything that you need. He can fill the void. A person cannot fill the void.
Yeah.
Person cannot fill the void. God fills the void, and he sends people to be father figures. He sends people to be able to guide you and lead you and be able to protect you and stuff like that. But you have to surrender yourself to God.
Yeah.
You have to lay it down.
Yeah.
You have to lay it down.
My God.
Some things happen little by little. And your healing is a journey. Healing is a journey, not a destination. It is a journey. It is already finished. We understand that. But it takes time to get your heart conditioned the proper way. Get it back to the way God created it to be, function in the way it's supposed to be. And I think my mother, she was a great example of how you can go to physical therapy. If something was to break, the doctor fixes it. You go to physical therapy. It's healed, but you have to walk it out. You have to regain that muscle.
Yeah.
You have to do certain things to like regain your strength. So it's the same thing with healing. Like you have to do certain things to get back in the motion of functioning as a whole person, as a healed person. Because you've been broken, dysfunctional for so long. Now you have to practice.
Wow. And that requires trust.
Yeah.
Because in order for you to get back to that, you have to open yourself up again.
Yeah.
After this person, he didn't accept you, he didn't claim you, you heal, but now you have to open yourself back up again.
Yeah.
Which requires trust, and not trust in the person that you're opening up to, but trust in God.
Yeah.
So we have to keep our eyes on God, not man, but keeping our eyes on him and him alone.
Yep. It's hard. It is hard. It is hard.
It is.
But God is still good. He's still able to mend, even when it comes to relationships. He may not have been there for the first 25 years of my life, but who knows? God may, bring healing to our relationship and restore it. And then he's there for the next 25 years, or he's there for the next 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have to be open to what God wants to do. And it's the only way to be open is to face what you didn't close, what you didn't let go.
Being open, Jesus.
Be open.
Wow.
Because the devil's after it. I can snatch your father out your life. I got your identity. If I got your identity, you ain't going to live in purpose. You're not going to do what God wants you to do.
Yeah.
Like that's the trick of the enemy. And sometimes I think we need to learn like how the devil tries to come and steal and kill and to destroy. We need to learn his tactics. He's sitting there studying us and we don't know what he's doing. It's crazy.
I mean, because then that's how we get in a repetitive cycle, just over and over and over again, because he's learning us, he knows us, but we don't know how he gets his things done because we're too busy saying that's normal, that's every day. And it's not.
Yeah. So
it's not.
Fight for your vulnerability. That's what I have to do. So we all have to do. Fight for your vulnerability, fight for your relationship with God, and face the things that you've suppressed. Face it. And I'm not just saying it just to say it. I'm saying it because I'm doing it.
Yeah.
This is a reality that I'm currently living out.
We're not saying anything that we have not done and that we're not attempting to do even right now, today.
Yeah, because this conversation makes me angry.
Yeah. It
burn it up. Fire.
I mean, and that's okay because we're like, how could you?
Yeah.
How could you? Like, you know, but we ask God for compassion. We ask God for understanding and to forgive. Because if we cannot forgive our fathers, how in the world are we asking for forgiveness?
Yeah.
So I want to be forgiven. I done did some stuff. So I want to be forgiven. So I have to forgive.
What does forgiveness look like? Can we put that in practical?
Forgiveness is a choice. It's not something you just do because I feel like it. I feel like you deserve it. I feel like you're ready for it. It's more like a choice. I'm choosing to forgive. And it's not really for you, but it's for my own self. Because if I don't forgive you, like I just said, I can't pray. I can't go to God and ask Him to forgive me. And I can't even forgive. So it's a choice that I need to make. And it's a choice that needs to be made every single day until you feel like I'm good. And you know, when you're good, when you can have these conversations and you're not angry, you're not hurt, you're not anything. Yeah. It's just, you know, it's just a part of your story. It just happened. Yeah. So it's a choice.
And forgiveness looks like letting go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that's it, you know? I think that's all I can take.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed us being vulnerable. We pray that it's a help. It plants a seed in you that you can forgive, that you can let go, you can embrace, you can accept. But above everything else, include God, lean on Him completely, because it's not something that you can do by yourself. We're talking about father wounds, we're talking about trauma, you know, things like that. So that's not something that you can do by yourself at all. It requires God and His strength, and it requires people that have a sound mind that has already had that a part of their story where they can help you. So yeah, I just pray that we were just able to plant a seed into people that actually want to let go and really trust God.
Yeah, talk about it. Talk to the people that you have in your corner, friends, sure, mentors, counselor, the Lord, pastors. Talk to your people. You don't have to go through this alone. We're here. We are here. And just heal the best you. God's version of you is what we're all striving to be. Right. So yeah, the devil wants you to be unhealed, traumatized.
Yeah.
In a dark room and depressed. But God doesn't want that for you. So do the work. And don't be scared of the work. It takes work. This ain't easy. It takes work, okay? So don't be afraid of the work. Do the work. It's worth it.
It is.
You may not see it now because I didn't see it. But it is worth it in the end. Because ultimately the father wounds, it affects so much. Your authentic self, it affects that. Can't be the real you with holding on to this. So
yeah.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Right.
Yeah. Let it go. Yeah. All right, we're out of here.
Praise the Lord.
Until next time. Goodbye.
Yes.
Hasta la vista. I don't want to say goodbye to you, but I have to right now. Goodbye.
Unashamed.